So Apple's 2025 iPhone lineup is just around the corner, and we're starting to get a really clear picture of what's coming. And you know what that means? It's time to ask that big question we all ask ourselves every single year.
Right? It's the classic dilemma. The shiny new phone comes out, you hear about all the incredible new features, and all of a sudden, that phone that's been perfectly fine in your pocket for the last year, it just starts to feel a little old.
But here's the thing. This year, the answer isn't so cut and dry. It's way more interesting because we've got 4 very different models to talk about, including one that's brand new and kind of changes everything. So the real question isn't just if you should upgrade, but which one are we even talking about?
Okay, but before we get totally carried away with all the cool new tech, let's pump the brakes for just a second and talk about a pretty compelling reason why you might want to just stick with what you've got.
Let's just do some really simple math here. I mean, think about it. If the main reason, maybe the only reason you're frustrated with your current phone is that the battery just doesn't last all day anymore, well, a new iPhone is going to set you back at least $800. A new battery from Apple? That's under $100. You're saving hundreds of dollars for a fix that honestly could make your phone feel brand new again.
And let's be real for a second. A lot of the biggest upgrades this year are in the cameras, the zoom and the ultra-wide, and in the fancy screen tech. So if you're someone who just uses the main camera to snap photos, and you're totally fine with your current screen, a lot of the flagship features this year might not actually be a huge deal for you.
All right, but what if you're still thinking, nope, I hear you, but I definitely want something new? Perfect. Let's meet the 4 contenders, because this year's lineup really is all about finding the one that's the perfect fit for you.
So here they are, the whole family. And what's so cool is that Apple is giving each of them a really clear personality this year. You've got everything from an incredibly powerful new base model all the way up to that ultimate Pro Max experience.
Okay, this is the fun part. Let's find your perfect match. We're gonna break down exactly who should get each of these models. And we're gonna start with what might just be the most exciting entry-level iPhone that Apple has ever made.
You know how it usually goes, right? All the best, most exciting features have always been locked away in those expensive Pro models. Well, with the standard iPhone 17, that is changing in a very big way.
I mean, this is a massive leap. You're finally getting that super buttery smooth 120Hz ProMotion display on the base model, which makes everything from scrolling to gaming feel incredible. The screen is also tougher thanks to Ceramic Shield 2. You get a fantastic 48-megapixel ultra-wide for amazing close-up macro shots. And get this, that new rotating center stage selfie camera that keeps you perfectly in frame, that's on every model this year. And now for the totally new kid on the block, the iPhone Air. This phone is for anyone out there who's just felt like, man, phones have just gotten too big and too heavy. The Air prioritizes one thing above literally everything else.
The iPhone Air is 7% lighter than the standard iPhone 17. Now I know, 7% doesn't sound like a ton on paper, but trust me, it's a difference you are absolutely going to feel every single time you pick it up.
And when you combine that with the fact that it's an incredible 29% thinner, that's almost a third, the appeal here is just crystal clear. If you are sick of bulky phones and you just want something incredibly sleek and light, the design of the Air is its absolute killer feature. All right, now let's move up to the big leagues with the Pro. This is the phone for people who need the absolute best performance and maybe more importantly, the absolute best camera system Apple can make. So all you camera nerds out there, listen up. You'll remember that last year's top-of-the-line Pro model had a 5x optical zoom. But this year, the brand new iPhone 17 Pro, it has a 4x optical zoom.
Yeah, wait, what? That sounds like a step backward, right? A downgrade? Well, not so fast. The real story here is not in the number, it's in the technology behind it. So here's why this is actually a pretty huge upgrade. That new 4X lens is paired with a massive 48-megapixel sensor. That's 4 times the resolution of last year's telephoto camera. So what does that mean? It means you get much, much sharper photos at 4X, and it unlocks a brand new, super high-quality 8X zoom by cropping in on that giant sensor. It's a game changer for zoom quality. The Pro also fixes a really common complaint, overheating. It's actually going back to an aluminum frame, which gets rid of heat better than titanium, and it's adding a new vapor cooling chamber. That means the phone stays cooler when you're doing intense stuff like gaming or shooting 4K video, so you get better performance for longer. And finally, the top dog, the Pro Max. The idea here is really simple but really powerful. You take that incredible camera, the powerful chip, and that new cooling system from the Pro, and you just make it bigger. So you get a massive immersive 6.9-inch screen, and of course, the best battery life in the entire lineup.
Okay, so we've covered all the highlights and the feel of these phones. For all of you who just want to see the cold, hard data, let's put it all side by side in the final spec showdown. And here it is, the entire lineup at a glance. What's really fascinating when you look at it this way is seeing the trade-offs. Like, notice how the iPhone Air is almost as light as the old mini iPhones, but with a way bigger screen. You can also really see the weight difference you get for those Pro cameras. Go ahead and pause here if you want to dig in and compare the specs that matter the most to you.
So, after getting hands-on with all 4 of these new iPhones, what's the final verdict from our source, CNN_? The big takeaway is this. For maybe the first time ever, every single phone in this lineup has a really strong, really clear reason to exist. The standard 17 is an amazing value. The Pro is for the serious photographer. And that iPhone Air, its appeal is so simple and powerful. It's just thinner and lighter. It basically sells itself. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. For years, there was always one best iPhone. But now, with 4 completely distinct choices, it feels like Apple isn't just selling one iPhone anymore. They're selling a whole range of personalized devices. So the question isn't just, should you upgrade anymore? It's, which one of these is your iPhone?